The movie starts with a girl named Zoe, one of the high school students, getting on the bus with the rest of her class for a school field trip. The teacher begins explaining what they're going to see at the exhibit, saying they'll be learning about the elements, a group of magical beings who drew their power from the tree of knowledge to shape the world. While talking about the trip, the teacher notices a student named Kay standing outside and tells her to get on the bus, saying she's the only one they're waiting for. Once everyone is on board, the driver takes them to the exhibit, which features supposedly magical artifacts. There, one of the staff members, Dr. Rosen, gives them a brief explanation about each piece in the museum, especially the Tree of Knowledge, which the world was formed from. As the class follows the guide, Zoe hears a strange sound coming from one of the rooms. She decides to leave the group and check it out with her friend Owen. Inside, they find a staff covered in markings on the handle. Owen immediately recognizes them as symbols of the 5 elements. While he's explaining the legend behind it, 2 other students, Kiefer and Caitlin, walk in and ask what they're doing, which leads to a small argument. During the commotion, the staff suddenly falls to the floor without anyone touching it. Zoe picks it up, and it starts glowing in a mysterious way. The moment she touches it, the symbols of all the elements light up on their faces, and they all feel something strange. Afraid of getting caught, Owen suggests putting the staff back, but Dr. Rosen walks into the room. When she sees it in their hands, she asks how it happened and takes them all to her office. There, Dr. Rosen explains that the staff was made from the wood of the Tree of Knowledge and was used by the Nazarians to shape the world. Owen notices that the staff is broken and asks why. She says it has been part of the collection for over 100 years and was found that way. Owen mentions the light that appeared on the staff and says that when Zoe was holding it, everything lit up, including the symbols on their faces. After hearing this, Dr. Rosen takes out an obsidian cube and says it was found along with the staff. She asks them to touch it to see if anything happens. Without thinking twice, Kiefer grabs the cube from her, and one by one they all touch it, instantly falling unconscious. When Zoe sees her friends collapse, she refuses to touch it at first. But then she hears her mother's voice singing from inside the cube. Hesitant but unable to resist, she reaches out and touches it. Suddenly, they're all pulled away and dropped into the middle of a desert. After waking up, they start trying to figure out how to get back home. Out of nowhere, they hear music playing in the distance. They follow the sound until they reach a forest, where they meet Marduk, a man with moss tangled in his beard who appears to be asleep. When he hears them, he wakes up in a panic, saying the wizard has returned. But when he sees Zoe, he quickly changes his tone, calling her Daughter of Earth, and saying she smells different. He adds that the beast doesn't like the scent of outsiders from beyond the forest. Confused, they suddenly hear a roar behind them and assume it's the monster Marduk mentioned. The long-bearded man says the guardian is coming and that Zoe needs to show who she truly is. She doesn't understand what he means, and they all run before the creature reaches them. The guardian catches up to Dr. Rosen and knocks her unconscious. The staff flies out of her hand. The beast moves closer to sniff her, but when it hears Zoe's voice, it leaves the teacher and chases after the rest of the group instead. While running, Zoe gets cornered near a tree and is almost caught, but at the last second she merges with the tree trunk and escapes. After everyone leaves, Dr. Rosen regains consciousness and sits beside the staff until several jinn appear. She tells them the students haven't fully awakened their powers yet, and orders them to find a way to extract the elements from within the teens without them realizing what she's planning. Meanwhile, Owen and the others continue through the forest until they find a wall covered in strange writing. When Kay steps closer, she realizes she can read the language. She raises her hand, and a symbol of one of the elements lights up in her palm, as well as on the wall. On the other side of the forest, Zoe wakes up among the trees and finds Marduk again. Now alone with him, she takes the chance to ask questions and discovers that he belongs to the earth element just like she does, which is why they both can control nature. In the end, Marduk tells her he grew up there and lived in peace until the sorceress betrayed them. Zoe is confused and asks who the sorceress is. He explains that she was the original guardian of the Tree of Knowledge. When he grew older, he traveled the world and met 4 other elementals. Together, they learned how to control the power of the elements. When only the earth element remained to be mastered, they tried to return to the tree of knowledge, but the sorceress stopped them. One day, a plague struck the forest. Not knowing what to do, the sorceress asked the 5 elementals for help. After she finally trusted them, she decided to use the power of the tree to heal the people. But the energy was so overwhelming that she lost her sanity and turned against her own people. When the elementals discovered what had happened, they chose to confront her and banished her from the sacred forest, leaving her to search for a way back ever since. After finishing his story, Marduk repeated that the sorceress had returned and asked Zoe to search for the second half of the staff. He said it was the only thing capable of stopping her from draining the tree's power. Zoe didn't know what to do and asked where she could find the other half. Marduk told her it was hidden behind the obsidian mirror in the House of Shadows. When she didn't understand what he meant, she said she just wanted to go home, but he insisted there was no other way back. In the end, he told her she had to get rid of the sorceress's scent. Anything carrying the smell of earth would keep the beast from tracking her. He suggested she cover herself in mud. After she did, she turned back to speak to him, only to realize he had vanished without a trace. Meanwhile, her friends reached a large rock, and Kay once again managed to read the carved poem on it. She discovered it spoke about uniting the 5 elements: earth, fire, air, water, and ether, the space between things. When Owen heard that, he suggested the stone was asking them to offer a part of each element. Since they still didn't know how to fully use their powers, they decided to do it the old-fashioned way, using a flame, some dirt, and a leaf to activate the symbols. On the other side of the forest, Zoe was searching for her friends when the Guardian nearly detected her, but Dr. Rosen saved her at the last second. Zoe was relieved and hugged her. That's when Rosen admitted she was the sorceress Marduk had warned her about. Seeing the shock on Zoe's face, she claimed Marduk had lied and said she hadn't been able to stop the elementals the first time, but since then, she had been trying to repair the staff to save the forest. She explained that she needed Zoe's help and revealed that only the elementals could approach the tree. That was why she had brought them there in the first place. Sensing Zoe's hesitation, Rosen warned her that her friends were in danger and pointed her in the right direction, helping her reunite with the group. When Zoe heard what Kay had discovered, she realized the riddle wasn't just about the elements, it was about them. She admitted to everyone that she possessed the power of earth. As the Guardian approached, Zoe raised her hand and lit up the earth symbol, telling the others to do the same. Owen activated water, Caitlin ignited fire, Kay summoned ether, and Kayfer called forth air. When the 5 elements united, they were transported to a new location. The group began wondering why the beast was chasing them. Zoe explained that they carried the same scent as the sorceress, and told them what Marduk had said about masking themselves with the smell of earth. They decided to cover themselves in mud to change their scent. Soon after, they found a small hawk with a broken wing. Gathering around it, Zoe used her earth power to heal the injury. The bird soared from side to side, amazing everyone. Encouraged, Zoe said they needed to find the remaining elementals and reach the tree at the center of the forest if they ever wanted to go home. During their difficult journey, the 5 crossed different environments until they reached a crossroads covered in strange signs. As they tried to figure out which way to go, a mysterious figure appeared and introduced himself as the guardian of the crossroads. Without wasting time, Owen stepped forward to ask a question, but as he got too close, he transformed into water and was swept away. Kaifer tried to fix the situation, but he too transformed and disappeared, leaving the girls alone. Feeling there was no way to fight, Zoe chose honesty. She told the Guardian they had come to stop the sorceress and save the tree. The creature replied that he wasn't interested in their mission, he wanted to know her true intentions. Caitlin offered her expensive necklace, and Kay tried to bribe him with money to bring their friends back. The Guardian grew offended, viewing it as an insult, and cast them away. Desperate, Zoe offered him her mother's bracelet and explained its meaning and emotional value. When the Guardian finally understood her sincerity, he agreed and opened a portal for her. However, instead of sending her back into the forest, he accidentally transported her into a frozen, snow-covered realm. Elsewhere, Kay and Caitlin were searching for their friends when a strange creature called the Weaver spotted them. When Kay saw the half-human figure, she tried to approach him, but her friend stopped her. The creature suddenly appeared in front of them, saying he was hungry and inviting them to eat. When they asked if he had seen other humans, he replied that they might be with his companion, the female weaver, and offered to take them there. Despite the risk, they agreed and followed the hybrid creature. In the icy realm, Zoe was shivering when Rosen appeared again, congratulating her on her progress and saying she had passed through 2 gates. The sorceress repeated that she needed Zoe's help and explained that the elementals had created a barrier to prevent her from reaching the tree. Zoe responded that she had never agreed to help her and questioned why the guardian of the crossroads had sent her there. Before Rosen could answer, Kiefer appeared in the distance, and the sorceress vanished. Reunited with Kiefer, Zoe was told there was something she needed to see. He led her to the Weaver woman, who was using a massive needle to shift the trees and stitch together a passage between winter and spring. Unlike her companion, she was calm and silent, ignoring the group's questions. Soon, the male Weaver arrived with Kay and Caitlin, and everyone was relieved to be together again. Zoe asked if the Weaver woman was okay, and he assured her she was. She just took her work seriously. After introducing himself properly, he announced he was hungry, prompting the Weaver to set aside her giant needle and transport them all to a feast. While eating, Zoe mentioned that Owen was still missing and asked if they could find him. Owen had discovered a stone covered in symbols, unaware that the guardian stood beside him. As he began reading the inscriptions, the Weaver watched everything through a portal. When Kay interpreted the text, she realized it referred to a box hidden behind the obsidian mirror. Zoe immediately insisted they had to reach that place. The Weaver warned them that humans always die trying to pass through the mirror, sparking an argument. At that moment, the Guardian found Owen and was about to capture him, but Caitlin managed to pull him away. Together, they escaped with a fragment of the portal in their hands, leaving the Weaver to close the passage before the Guardian could follow. In the middle of the forest, Rosen reached the elemental barrier and started screaming that this was her home. She attacked the protective force, trying to break through to the other side, but no matter how many times she tried, nothing happened. The sorceress swore she would return with her staff fully restored. That night, the group was gathered around the fire when the sorceress's image appeared behind Zoe. She was the only one who could see it. Zoe stepped away from the group to speak with Rosen, but Caitlin noticed and interrupted her, asking who she was talking to. When they regrouped, they started thinking about how to stop the sorceress. Suddenly, feeling threatened, they ran and hid behind a tree to see what was going on as 2 Jinn entered the camp. To avoid being discovered, they tried to escape but fell into quicksand that began pulling Zoe down. In her mind, she heard Rosen's voice telling her she had to sink into the darkness. Even without knowing what the sorceress had said, the rest of the group rushed to save their friend. Underground, Caitlin found herself in complete darkness until she saw her reflection in the obsidian mirror. She asked where the others were, and her reflection told her they were on the other side, inviting her to step into the mirror. At the same time, the others faced their own reflections, each trying to lure them inside. Zoe's reflection was holding a bowl of strawberries, and for some reason, Zoe stepped in as well, unable to fully grasp what was happening. Back with Caitlin, her reflection did everything it could to destroy her self-confidence. But despite the psychological attack, Caitlin unleashed a burst of fire, shattered the obsidian mirror, and freed herself. She then saw Kiefer heading toward another mirror and stopped him from entering, using her powers to break him free. Together, they went to Owen and Kay and used their abilities to shatter the mirror illusions, releasing everyone from their influence. That's when they realized Zoe was missing. Caitlin decided to enter the last remaining mirror to look for her. On the other side, Zoe found herself in her room. She saw her friend crying on the bed beside a plate of strawberries. When asked what was wrong, Zoe explained that she used to eat strawberries with her mom after school every day. But one day, she didn't go straight home, and when she finally returned, she found her mother had passed away. Caitlin told her it wasn't her fault, and that what mattered now was getting out of the mirror so they could save the world together. The two returned to the darkness and reunited with the others. Suddenly, the ground began to shake, and a portal opened from the darkness, allowing them to escape to a safe place. After passing through the obsidian mirror, the group believed they were close to finishing their journey. They walked until they found a heavy box sitting in the middle of the water. After moving it to safety, Rosen appeared beside Zoe and began manipulating her mind, ordering everyone to open the box. When they did, they found it empty and were shocked. Noticing the change in Zoe's behavior, Caitlin kept a close eye on her and saw a strange shadow surrounding her. Before they could understand what was happening, the sorceress appeared in physical form before them. Furious, Rosen said she had brought them there for nothing. Caitlin asked what she meant, and the sorceress revealed she had manipulated every single one of their lives to lead them to the forest, even Zoe's mother's cancer, which forced them to move to another country in search of treatment. While Rosen was speaking, Kay had an idea to use a fragment of the Weaver's portal to summon the Guardian for help. But the creature stood no chance against the sorceress, who paralyzed him instantly. Taking advantage of the chaos, the group jumped through the portal back into the forest, though they could still hear the Guardian approaching. Suddenly, the hawk they had helped earlier appeared before them. Zoe remembered that the forest creatures were affected by Earth's power, and she came up with a risky plan to use her elemental energy to calm the beast. She waited for it to appear, then released a wave of energy that froze it in place, gradually soothing it. Once the Guardian stopped, Zoe realized the missing piece of the staff was inside its body. She used all her strength to pull it out, causing both of them to collapse unconscious while holding the ancient fragment. The group panicked, unsure what to do, when the sorceress appeared demanding the piece. Even though they were terrified, Kiefer and Caitlin refused to surrender and stepped forward to protect it, but Rosen easily overpowered them. To stop her friends from getting hurt, Zoe stood up and handed the staff fragment to the sorceress. With her goal finally achieved, Rosen carried Zoe and crossed the barrier protecting the tree. She stood before Marduk. Despite his age, he declared he would stop her from destroying the world, but Rosen didn't hesitate. She stabbed him in the chest with the staff. Zoe rushed to him and tried to heal him with her powers, but even all her energy wasn't enough. With his final breath, Marduk told her not to worry, that life and death are connected. Then his body disappeared. The sorceress declared it was over and ordered Zoe to drive the staff into the tree. Instead, Zoe gathered all her strength and unleashed the tree's power in a massive explosion that destroyed the sorceress. With the tree destroyed, the 5 elementals placed their hands on the ground and combined their powers to restore the soil and grow a new sapling of the tree of knowledge. As soon as it sprouted, Zoe collapsed and stopped breathing. Devastated, her friends grabbed the obsidian cube and returned to civilization. Despite the trauma, everyone was safe, and they returned to their normal lives at school. Even after the adventure ended, they all still retained their powers. And that's how the movie ends. Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.